It was too late at night. But I mean, we have those programs all over the United States, and we catered to around 150. And on the cover was Reg Park, a British bodybuilding champion who won the Mr. Universe competition 3 times.
Working out so hard, 5 hours a day, 6 hours a day, and you have always a smile on your face. The dinosaurs from extinction.
Yeah.
And they also brought back your movie career.
And she was very concerned about that.
Yes.
That I love oiled up men.
I remember then the same thing happened also when I'm into the show business. Can you imagine I was now a bodybuilder, I weighed 250 pounds.
The iconic influence in bodybuilding. Arnold Schwarzenegger wasn't just a bodybuilder. He was the blueprint for success in a world that revolved around bulging muscles and chiseled physiques. His journey began way back when he was just a teenager in Austria, pumping iron and sculpting those muscles. At the tender age of 15, he was already hitting the gym, laying the groundwork for a colossal career in bodybuilding.
Well, I didn't have much other eggs anyway, so I did that, but I got the gym. Physique, just like Frank Zane had a great physique.
Right.
You know, if he was the same size as Arnold, maybe he would have beat him.
It's Einstein or maybe somebody. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over again and expecting a different outcome.
But it wasn't until he made the leap across the pond to the land of the free, the USA, that things truly skyrocketed. Arnold's arrival on American shores was like a shockwave through the world of bodybuilding. Suddenly, this Austrian powerhouse injected a new vitality into the sport, and it wasn't long before bodybuilding went from a niche interest to a mainstream fascination. Let's talk about his physique. Oh boy, it was something else. Arnold wasn't just a bodybuilder, he was a walking, talking Greek god. Picture this: a perfectly balanced, chiseled body with muscles that seemed to have muscles of their own. And the late 70s? That was his playground. He dominated the bodybuilding scene like a king ruling over his kingdom. Now, let's dip into the controversy. The 1980 Mr. Olympia win. Oh, it was a doozy. Some say it was a bit of a head-scratcher, a win that raised more eyebrows than dumbbells. But controversy aside, Arnold continued to soar even after hanging up his posing trunks. He transitioned seamlessly from bodybuilding to Hollywood, becoming the Terminator among other iconic roles. The impact he made? It's still reverberating through the world of bodybuilding. Even post-retirement, his name echoes in the halls of gyms and competitions worldwide. Arnold wasn't just a bodybuilder, he was the embodiment of dedication, the epitome of what it meant to sculpt not just a body, but a legacy. Dorian Yates' perspective, the lack of connection with Schwarzenegger. The 90s belonged to a different breed of bodybuilder, and right at the forefront was Dorian Yates. This guy wasn't just a contender, he was a force to be reckoned with. 6 consecutive Mr. Olympia wins? That's not just impressive, it's downright legendary. Yates bulldozed through the competition, etching his name into the annals of bodybuilding history.
He was just there, that hard stature of a man that you wanted to say, wow, you know what, this guy is so hard, it's like a rock.
I remember then the same thing happened also when I'm into the show business. Can you imagine I was now a bodybuilder, I weighed 250 pounds.
What's interesting, though, is his relationship, or lack thereof, with the other big name in the game, Arnold Schwarzenegger. Despite both being titans in the world of bulging muscles, Yates dropped a shocker. He and Arnold never really chatted. Yup. No exchanging pleasantries, no swapping bodybuilding secrets, nothing. It's like 2 heavyweight champs coexisting in the same universe, but never stepping into the same ring. But why? Well, Yates isn't one to mince words. He made it crystal clear. He wasn't interested in cozying up to anyone for favors. No sir, no buttering up or seeking guidance from the big names in the industry, including Arnold. He valued his independence and wasn't about to start playing the game of rubbing elbows for an edge. His philosophy? Simple. He was his own man, carving his path to success without riding on the coattails of bodybuilding legends. For Yates, it wasn't about seeking validation or mentorship from the big shots. It was about forging his legacy through sweat, iron, and sheer determination. He wasn't in it for popularity points. He was in it to dominate the stage, making it clear that he earned his place on his own terms. Contrasting eras, Arnold and Dorian's impact on bodybuilding. The 70s and 90s in bodybuilding, they might as well be different planets. And at the center of these distinct eras were two juggernauts who defined their times in muscle lore, Arnold Schwarzenegger and Dorian Yates. Arnold, the man, the myth, the legend. The 70s were his playground, and boy did he make it his kingdom. He was the one who took bodybuilding from the shadows and thrust it into the limelight. With muscles that looked like they were sculpted by the gods themselves, he popularized bodybuilding like no one else before him. The sport became synonymous with his name, and gyms worldwide echoed with aspirations to emulate the Austrian Oak's physique. Now, fast forward to the 90s, where Dorian Yates stepped into the spotlight. This was the age of Yates' reign. He didn't just dominate, he owned the stage, claiming the Mr. Olympia throne for 6 consecutive years. Yates represented a shift, a departure from the aesthetics-focused era of Arnold to a more mass and conditioning-oriented physique. His impact wasn't just about winning titles, it was about redefining the standards of modern bodybuilding.
And I'm thinking, great, I'm British champion, but there's no newspapers outside, there's no TV, I haven't got a car.
I mean, she was very concerned about that.
Yes.
I love oiled up men.
Thinking about beating other people, which basically I have no control over, so that's my competition.
Both Arnold and Yates were pioneers, trailblazers in their own right. Arnold, with his charisma and iconic presence, brought bodybuilding to the masses. Yates, with his grit and relentless pursuit of perfection, pushed the sport to new heights. They were like chapters in a book, distinct yet essential parts of the narrative. Their contributions to bodybuilding's evolution were monumental. Arnold laid the foundation, making bodybuilding a household name. Yates, on the other hand, elevated the sport to a new level of intensity and dedication. Their eras might have been different, but their impact on the sport's history remained intertwined, each leaving an indelible mark on the ever-evolving canvas of bodybuilding. Debates and disagreements. Arnold's criticism of modern bodybuilding. Arnold Schwarzenegger, the titan of bodybuilding, didn't shy away from voicing his thoughts on the modern trends in the sport. He wasn't exactly throwing confetti. In fact, he was critical. Arnold's take? He saw a shift in bodybuilding practices that didn't quite align with his vision. He wasn't a fan of the obsession with sheer size or the extreme measures some athletes took to achieve it. The Terminator actor raised his voice, expressing concern over the potential risks posed by this relentless pursuit of mass at any cost. Enter Dorian Yates, ready to counter Arnold's viewpoints. Yates didn't hold back, suggesting that Arnold might have lost touch with the pulse of contemporary bodybuilding. He pointed out Arnold's alleged disconnection from the current scene, highlighting that the Austrian Oak wasn't a regular spectator at major competitions like the Mr. Olympia. Yates implied that without being actively involved in the current trends and competitions, Arnold might not fully grasp the nuances and challenges faced by today's bodybuilders.
Especially in bodybuilding, people said, why don't you become a world champion in skiing? That's Austrian, but bodybuilding is an American sport.
The dinosaurs from extinction.
Yeah.
And they also brought back your movie career.
Rear double bicep.
There were specific instances where Arnold's remarks ruffled feathers. One such instance was Arnold's criticism of the increasing size obsession in the mid-90s. Yates, who reigned during that period, didn't take too kindly to this critique. He defended the evolution of bodybuilding, arguing that it was a natural progression and a response to the demands of the sport at the time. Yates didn't buy into Arnold's opinions, indicating a clear divergence in their perspectives on the direction of modern bodybuilding. The clash of opinions between Arnold and Yates was a clash of eras, ideologies, and visions for the sport. While Arnold voiced concern, Yates stood firmly in defense of the sport's evolution, highlighting their contrasting viewpoints and adding a layer of debate to the ongoing narrative of bodybuilding's progression. The unfolding rivalry: Arnold Schwarzenegger versus Dorian Yates. Sports rivalries are like the spices in a recipe, adding that extra kick to make things sizzle. They're the heart-pounding, nail-biting moments that elevate athletic events from mere competitions to epic showdowns. Think of Kai Green and Phil Heath, modern-day bodybuilding giants whose rivalry turned competitions into high-stakes dramas. Their clashes weren't just battles of brawn, they were intense narratives, drawing in fans and onlookers, adding layers of drama that made every pose down electrifying. But then, let's turn back the clock to a rivalry that's as intriguing as it is unique: Arnold Schwarzenegger and Dorian Yates. These two weren't exactly trading barbs or flexing side by side on stage. Instead, theirs was a clash of ideologies and perspectives, a rivalry of eras. Arnold, the colossus of 70s bodybuilding, and Yates, the powerhouse of the 90s, stood on different sides of the bodybuilding spectrum. It's fascinating because despite competing in different times, their disagreements echo through the halls of bodybuilding history.
This sport's really tough, and to go there and win the Olympia 8 years in a row is an incredible achievement. And
Working out so hard, 5 hours a day, 6 hours a day, and you have always a smile on your face.
From England, Dorian Yates.
Arnold represented the era of aesthetics and charisma, while Yates ushered in an era of mass and conditioning. Their rivalry wasn't fueled by direct competition, but by conflicting visions for the sport. While Kai and Phil duked it out on stage, Arnold and Yates were engaged in a battle of ideas. Arnold's criticism of modern bodybuilding clashed with Yates's defense of its evolution, underscoring the significance of their differing viewpoints in shaping the sport's trajectory. Their contrasting philosophies injected a dose of debate and intrigue into bodybuilding's narrative. It wasn't about who lifted more or posed better. It was about their impact on the sport's ethos and future.
And on the cover was Reg Park, a British bodybuilding champion who won the Mr. Universe competition 3 times.
You said, you called me up and said,
Jimmy, go into the Havana room. I want you to come with me. You have to come now.
It was too late at night. But I mean, we have those programs all over the United States, and we cater to around 150.
Their rivalry might not have been filled with the drama of traditional sports clashes, but it sure left an indelible mark on the history of bodybuilding. That's all for this video, folks. See you next time.